You have been taught to chase everything you desire, but what if chasing is the very thing keeping it away? What if the secret to abundance, love, and success is not found in doing more, but in becoming more? The moment you stop fighting reality and begin changing the reality within yourself, everything around you begins to shift. Your outer world is not the creator of your life, it is the reflection of your deepest assumptions and beliefs. What you constantly feel, accept, and embody becomes the foundation of what you experience. Stop begging life to change and start becoming the person who already has what you seek. Because when your inner world transforms, your entire reality must eventually follow. You are not struggling because you are incapable or because you are not putting in enough effort. The real reason you feel stuck is because you are forcing what was never meant to be forced. The things you desperately chase often move away from you, while the things you calmly accept as yours begin to flow toward you naturally. The moment you release the constant need to control every outcome, life begins to rearrange itself in ways you could never have imagined. The greatest shift happens when you stop fighting and start allowing. I know your mind may resist this idea because you have been taught from childhood that everything meaningful must come through struggle. You were taught that success requires exhaustion, that achievement demands sacrifice, and that if you are not constantly working, proving, and pushing, you will lose everything. You were made to believe that rest means weakness, that silence means doing nothing, and that ease is something only a fortunate few experience. But this belief is the illusion that keeps so many people trapped. Tonight you are going to understand that true transformation does not come from endless effort. It comes from the unseen place within you where thoughts are created, where beliefs are formed, and where imagination becomes the blueprint for your reality. There is a powerful force within you that most people overlook because they are too busy searching outside themselves. It is the power of stillness. It is the ability to enter a state of inner certainty, to rest in the feeling of already having what you desire before the physical world shows evidence of it. This is not about becoming lazy or avoiding action. It is not about giving up on your dreams. It is about understanding the creative power of your consciousness. When you learn to become still, you stop fighting against life and begin aligning with it. Your inner world becomes the foundation from which your outer world is created. For years, you may have believed that results only come after struggle, that you must chase opportunities, chase love, chase success, and chase approval. You wake up feeling behind because you constantly measure yourself against what you have not yet achieved. You look at the distance between your current reality and your desired reality, and it feels impossible to cross. So you push harder, work longer, and exhaust yourself trying to force things into existence. But the more desperate you become, the more resistance you create. Life does not respond to desperation. It responds to the energy of certainty, belief, and inner alignment. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible world of your imagination. Before anything appears in your physical experience, it first exists as a thought, a vision, or a feeling within your consciousness. Every achievement, every relationship, every opportunity, and every form of abundance begins internally before it becomes visible externally. This is the secret most people never recognize. Imagination is the beginning of creation. Your assumptions, your beliefs, and the emotions you attach to your desires create the foundation for what eventually appears in your life. The outer world is simply reflecting what has already been accepted within you. When you create the feeling of already being, already having, or already experiencing what you desire, you create the inner state that allows reality to follow. This is why releasing the struggle can be more powerful than increasing the effort. When I say do nothing, I do not mean sitting around waiting without purpose. I mean letting go of the constant mental battle, the fear, the doubt, and the belief that you must force everything to happen. Your logical mind may immediately reject this because it has been trained to believe that action is the only path. But there is a deeper wisdom within you, a place where you stop chasing and start allowing, a place where you trust the unseen process and understand that what is truly aligned with you does not need to be hunted down. It responds to the state you choose to embody within. Doing nothing does not mean becoming passive or refusing to take action. It means shifting your focus from constantly trying to control the outside world to consciously creating from within. It is an inner movement, a powerful state where you become aware that your imagination is the source behind everything you experience. Instead of trying to repair every circumstance, you decide what you want your reality to reflect. Instead of fighting against what is happening, you choose the inner state from which you live. Instead of chasing results with desperation, you allow them to naturally move toward you. Life begins to change when you stop running after your desires and start accepting them internally as already yours. The moment you claim something within your consciousness, you begin the process of experiencing its reflection in your physical world. Think about what happens when you constantly chase something. The moment you wake up, your mind immediately asks, "What do I need to do to finally get this? What action will make it happen faster? How can I force this outcome?" But hidden inside those questions is the assumption that what you desire is missing. You are unknowingly affirming that it is somewhere far away, that it is not available to you yet, that you are still waiting for it to arrive. Your consciousness accepts the beliefs you repeatedly impress upon it and continues creating experiences that match them. It is not working against you, it is simply reflecting the instructions you give it. When your dominant feeling is lack, you continue experiencing situations that remind you of lack. But when you release the endless struggle and stop feeding the idea that something is missing, everything begins to shift. You stop identifying with absence and begin identifying with possession. You stop feeling like someone who is waiting and start feeling like someone who already has. This is where true transformation begins. There is a natural peace that appears when you stop forcing life to change and instead enter the feeling of completion. The fulfilled state is not a temporary wish or a desperate hope. It is the quiet certainty that what you desire is already accomplished within you. When you live from this state, you no longer obsess over signs, timing, methods, or the exact path of how things will happen. Those worries belong to the mindset of struggle and uncertainty. You move beyond them because you understand that your role is not to control every detail, but to embody the identity of the person who already possesses what they desire. Imagine sitting peacefully right now with complete confidence that everything you want is already yours. Not pretending, not hoping, truly knowing. Feel the calmness that would enter your mind, the relaxation that would flow through your body, and the freedom that would replace anxiety. That feeling of peace is not just an emotion, it is the creative force that shapes your experience. Every time you return to that inner state, you are changing the foundation from which your reality is created. You are no longer simply reacting to life, you are becoming the conscious creator of it. The world often tries to change circumstances first, but that is like trying to change an image by touching the screen instead of changing the projector creating the image. The external world is only a reflection of what is happening within. When you transform your assumptions, your beliefs, and your inner identity, the outer picture must eventually change. People chase success, but success is first a state of being. People chase love, but love begins as a state within the heart. People chase abundance, but abundance begins as a consciousness you choose to embody. Every experience you desire is available when you learn to enter the feeling of already having it. When you completely accept and embody a certain state of being, your external world begins to shift in order to reflect that inner identity. To someone watching from the outside, this transformation may appear as luck, perfect timing, unexpected opportunities, coincidences, or even miracles. But what is truly happening is the natural movement of a universal principle. The people who have created extraordinary lives were not always the ones who struggled the most or worked endlessly without rest. They were the ones who understood consciously or unconsciously the power of their inner world. They became the person they wanted to be before the world had any evidence of it. They felt greatness within themselves before others recognized it. They entered the quiet space of imagination and lived from the feeling of the desired outcome so completely that their external reality eventually had to reflect it. The true meaning of doing nothing is not sitting in emptiness or refusing to participate in life. It is entering a deeper level of awareness where imagination becomes the foundation of creation. It is living from the end result instead of constantly reacting to current appearances. What you see around you is only a reflection of previous thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. The circumstances in front of you are echoes of an old state that may not yet have adjusted to the new person you have become within. This is why you must not allow temporary appearances to convince you that your desire is impossible. Resting in the feeling of already having what you want is not foolishness, it is the creative process. The world may call this unrealistic because it has been conditioned to believe that only physical struggle creates results. But we have all witnessed people who work endlessly and still remain trapped, while others seem to move through life with incredible ease, attracting opportunities and experiences without constant force. The difference is not always the amount of effort. The difference is the state of consciousness they are operating from. They have learned to create internally before they attempt to change things externally. Your inner world is the cause, and your outer world is the reflection. Most people spend their lives trying to rearrange the reflection while ignoring the source creating it. They try to force circumstances, control situations, and manipulate outcomes, but they never change the belief system producing those experiences. Once you understand that the inside creates the outside, everything begins to change. You no longer chase what you want. You become the version of yourself who naturally experiences it. Chasing creates tension because it constantly reminds you that something is missing. Becoming creates peace because it assumes that what you desire is already part of who you are. The act of doing nothing is the process of becoming. It is sitting in stillness and asking yourself, if this dream were already fulfilled, how would I feel? How would I speak to myself? How would I carry myself? How would my body relax? How would I see the world around me? When you begin to embody those answers, even for a brief moment, you activate a powerful inner shift. Those moments of certainty hold more creative energy than hours of anxious effort because the invisible world does not operate through time the way the physical world does. The moment you accept a new state within yourself, the transformation has already begun. The outer world simply needs time to reflect what has already changed inside. This is why the power of stillness is so profound. It works directly with the source of creation. When the cause changes, the effect must eventually follow. Many people fear that if they stop forcing things, nothing will happen. But when you truly rest in the feeling of fulfillment, inspired action naturally appears. You will begin to move differently. You will make decisions with clarity instead of fear. You will take steps that feel natural instead of desperate. These actions may seem small, but they will carry the energy of certainty, and that is what creates powerful results. The power of doing nothing is not about abandoning action. It is about releasing struggle and trusting the unseen more than temporary circumstances. It is choosing to believe in the reality you have accepted within yourself before the physical world reveals it. When you remain faithful to that inner assumption, what once existed only as a feeling begins to take form as your experience. You are not here to exhaust yourself trying to force abundance, love, success, or happiness into your life. You are here to understand the power of assuming the state you desire and allowing your reality to reflect it back to you. The world outside of you does not create who you are. Your inner state creates the world you experience. Everything you have ever attracted into your life began with a belief, an assumption, or a feeling that you accepted as true. Think about the moments when you were convinced something would go wrong, and somehow it happened exactly as you expected. Think about the times when you had a deep inner confidence that something beautiful was coming, and it appeared almost effortlessly. The creative power itself never changes. It simply responds to the direction you give it. When you consciously choose your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions, you begin creating consciously. When you allow fear, doubt, and old beliefs to guide you, you create unconsciously. But regardless of whether you are aware of it or not, you are always creating. You are always impressing something upon your consciousness. The only difference is whether you are choosing the process intentionally or allowing life to be shaped by old patterns. The power of stillness brings you back to your own creative authority. It reminds you that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the source from which circumstances are formed. It allows you to step away from the constant noise of the outside world and return to the quiet place within where your imagination lives. You do not need to fight for something that already exists within your consciousness. If a desire has appeared within you, it is there for a reason. It represents a possibility that already exists on a deeper level. Your responsibility is not to chase it with anxiety, but to align yourself with it internally. Sit quietly for a moment. Take a deep breath and allow the pressure of the world to disappear. Release the opinions of others. Let your doubts fade away like darkness, disappearing when the sun rises. Enter that peaceful space within yourself and choose the state you want to experience. Feel it, accept it. Become the person who naturally lives in that reality. Do not force it. Do not struggle with it. Simply allow yourself to exist in that feeling. When your desire begins to feel normal and natural within you, the process is already complete. You have planted the seed. A seed does not grow faster because you constantly dig into the soil to check if it is working. In the same way, your desires do not unfold faster because you repeatedly question, worry, and search for proof. Once the inner assumption has been accepted, allow life to organize the details in its own way. There are countless movements happening beyond what your eyes can see. People you have never met may become part of your journey. Unexpected situations may open new paths. Opportunities you never planned for may appear. Answers may arrive from places you never considered. This is the power of resting in the fulfilled state. This is the transformation that happens when you stop trying to control every detail and trust the creative process within you. Once you understand this deeply, you no longer feel the need to chase everything. You no longer need to force outcomes or exhaust yourself, proving that you are worthy. You simply choose your state, remain faithful to it, and allow your external world to adjust. It must respond because you are the source of the experience you are living. You are the creator of your inner reality. You are the dreamer behind the dream. Doing nothing in this way becomes one of the most powerful actions you can take. It is not the absence of creation, it is the highest form of creation. It is the doorway to receiving because it removes the resistance that blocks what you desire. Life has never been withholding from you. You simply needed to become still enough to recognize the power that was already within you. Stop constantly measuring time. Stop demanding proof every moment. Stop searching for signs that something is happening. Return to your inner world. Choose the state that represents the reality you want. Feel it until it becomes familiar. Feel it until it feels natural. Then relax and allow the process to unfold. The moment your desire feels like a normal part of who you are, the seed has been planted, and what is accepted within consciousness must eventually express itself. The world around you is a reflection. It does not create the image, it simply reveals the image that already exists within. When you carry the assumption of joy, life begins to reflect joy. When you embody abundance, you begin noticing and experiencing abundance. When you accept yourself as loved, love becomes easier to recognize and receive. When you assume success, your thoughts, choices, and actions begin moving in harmony with that identity. The mirror has no power of its own. It cannot decide what image to show. It only reflects what stands before it. Your reality works the same way. It responds to the state you consistently occupy. When you stop struggling externally and begin creating intentionally within, life reflects that chosen state with incredible precision. Release the need to chase. Release the need to force. Release the belief that exhaustion is the price of receiving what you desire. Return to stillness. Return to certainty. Return to the knowing that what you seek begins within you first. The moment you embody the feeling of already having it, you move from seeking to receiving. You stop fighting life and begin flowing with it. You stop trying to become and start remembering who you already are. Choose the state, trust the process, allow the reflection to follow. The entire message teaches that the greatest power of creation does not come from endless struggle, force, or chasing external results. It comes from mastering your inner world and understanding that your assumptions, beliefs, and feelings shape the reality you experience. You are not meant to fight your way toward abundance, love, success, or happiness. Instead, you are meant to enter the state of already having what you desire and allow your outer world to reflect that inner conviction. Most people live from a state of lack. They constantly ask, how can I get it? When will it happen? What must I do to make it come? But those questions reinforce the belief that the desire is missing. The more you focus on not having something, the more you continue experiencing the feeling of absence. The shift happens when you stop chasing and begin becoming. When you assume the identity of the person who already has what they desire, your thoughts, emotions, actions, and circumstances begin aligning with that state. Doing nothing does not mean becoming passive or refusing to act. It means releasing fear, doubt, and the need to control every detail. It means entering a state of inner peace where imagination becomes the source of creation. Your outer reality is only a reflection of your dominant inner state. Just as a mirror cannot create an image but only reflect what is placed before it, life reflects the beliefs and assumptions you consistently hold within. The key is to live from the end. Feel the experience of already being the person you want to become. Feel the peace of already having what you desire. When the feeling becomes natural, you have planted the seed. You do not need to constantly dig it up by checking for proof, searching for signs, or worrying about when it will appear. Trust the unseen process and allow life to organize the path. Your imagination is the beginning of every creation. Before anything appears in the physical world, it first exists within consciousness. The people who transform their lives understand that they must change the cause before they can change the effect. Instead of trying to fix the outside world, they change their inner state, knowing the external world must eventually follow. The ultimate lesson is simple. Stop chasing, stop forcing, and stop exhausting yourself trying to become worthy of what you already desire. Return to stillness. Choose the state you want to experience. Feel it as if it is already true. When you align with that reality within yourself, your world begins to rearrange itself around that new identity. You are not a victim of life. You are the creator of the experience you live. The moment you believe it is done within, you open the door for it to appear without.